Round 10 of the Pro Series is underway here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and what a race we're coming up to. That could be the championship decider for Jeroen Kwekel, who enters this round as the possible 2015 Pro Series World Champion. He needs to win, and Sander Kallis needs to fail to finish anywhere in the classified finishers list. And that's quite important for him at the moment, is to at least finish this race and keep his title hopes alive. But we look at the circuit details for you. The 7 kilometer, 4.35 mile, wonderful 20 turn layout at Spa, and it is absolutely magnificent. The home of the Formula 1 Belgian Grand Prix, the Spa 24 hours. We currently head qualifying for the Pro Series with 2.5 minutes remaining. Jonny in the commentary booth alongside Chris de Jong for another round. We also have Pashalis Gergis, a new cameraman, on board. But welcome, Chris, and your countryman, Jeroen Kwekel, could possibly take the title home, and he's under pressure, not in qualifying, but they'll at least just finish and gain some good points.
Yeah, definitely. He's having a nice perspective up to this race, and I don't think anyone can say that he did not deserve it this year. He's well, basically won, I believe, the first 6 races out of 6 before it was Michele Di Alessandro scored the first victory and took the first victory away from Jeroen. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting race to watch. Nevertheless, I mean, every race in Pro is bound to have some fight of some sort. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and aren't we all? It's Spa, right?
Yeah, certainly is. And the technical team at FSR have done a magnificent job. We know, Chris, that especially with the technical issues at Eau Rouge, where drivers really started to hit some invisible walls, they've got this circuit out for this year, and it's looking quite optimistic and quite well for the Pro Series. WC later on. For now, with 1 minute and 20 seconds left, we look at that drop-off point, and our race winner from last round, James Sadler, failing to set a time so far. He did join the session late, but at the moment he's under pressure right now in 21st position, traveling through Blanchimont.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do a de Jong like de Jong did yesterday, huh? Not setting a time in the weather conditions. I had a massive problem, but nevertheless, I'm sure James will have a time in. Sure, and there he goes. Number of he takes the 5th time away with a 147.101, and well, considering that's basically a banker lap for him. He has one more lap to go, and he obviously put 12 or 13 liters in his car instead of a little bit less. So he's trying to do one more lap.
He certainly is. Now traveling along with DRS Open across the Kemmel Straight. Looking at that drop-off point, Christian Bufumo currently holds P10. Dmitry Zaharov's qualifying session is done and dusted. He's out in P11. The same goes for David O'Reilly down in P19. 2 drivers not taking part in this session are Craig Baxter and Henry Hermsen. But right now, Chris, I mean, we look at Andrea Reconi traveling through Eau Rouge. He really needs to improve, needs to find those 2/10. Could be relatively easy around Spa. There's so many turns that you can gain that time.
And on the other hand, lose it as well. But it's certainly now or never, and Andrea just has to show he's worth it. But it's a relatively big gap to Bufumo, who is still on a lap. Yes, he is. It doesn't seem that Jax Wengler is able to set a lap time. He's having some computer problems. He's stationary in the pit, and he will start dead last. That's not relevant for the moment. What is relevant is who is gonna get into the Q2 spots and who isn't. David Cook is doing a fantastic job in P9, by the way. He improved dramatically.
He certainly has, but the problem is for David Cook each round is that he qualifies well and needs to start getting some good points in the races. Maybe at top 5 finish the goal, and Andrea Reconi there in P12 spins and hits the wall, so his qualifying session is over, but he was not faster than his fastest time then, so he was a bit optimistic to get inside the top 10. The only other man who can do it is DeWald Nell. He crosses the line and gets himself into P8, knocking out Christian Bufumo, who is coming across the line now, who's currently fastest. He's up on his current time, and it puts him into P9. So wonderful job there at the last second, knocking David Cook off, who also comes across the line.
David Cook does it though. He was pushed out when Bufumo went over the line, but he on his turn pushes Kanata out, and he manages to save himself a spot into Q2. What an action already!
Yeah, those last three drivers, Dewald, Bufumor and Cook, all pushing it to the absolute limit right at the end, getting themselves inside the top 10. So Andrea Kanata just misses out. And we look at the top 10 who go through to Q2, same rules as always. Your own Quakel, currently fastest by almost 0.6 of a second. That's quite dominant here around Spa.
Yeah.
Sander Callis in second, his championship rival, the only man who can mathematically still win this championship. He'll need a lot of luck on his side. Adrian Falcon, Ghost Speed teammate in third of Quakel. Another Ghost Speed teammate, James Sadler, in fifth. But Twister Racing's Giordano Valeriano is splitting those two. He's in fourth position. Then it's Ranzini, Carpenter, Nell, Bufumor, and Cook. And now we move to Q2, Chris. Can anybody really challenge Jeroen here at the front? I mean, he's 0.6 up. You've got one lap now to get it right. And to find those 0.6, maybe even more time for those behind, it's going to be incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it sure is, and I think the only person that can beat Jeroen is actually Jeroen himself, if he cocks up his lap. But nevertheless, some say, where Jeroen has found the speed, is that some say that he has had some close contact with Jax Wengler over the past two weeks. Huh? Huh?
Well, we're not going to hint anything too serious right there, but Jacques Wengler should hopefully be racing. He's not in qualifying at the moment, but Q2 is underway, and Samuel Carpenter goes out onto the racetrack first, followed by Giordano Valeriano, who needs a good result, Chris. He's had an up and down season. He's in Twister, a team that's dominated this year, and he's learnt from a few guys in that team who have won WC races, dominated the top division. So you guess you could say he needs a good result to finish this season, not just in this race, but at Singapore in 2 weeks' time, and also the Circuit of the Americas, Suzuka, the rest of the racetracks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he has some good examples in his team. We all know the dominance that Twister Racing is forcing themselves on into the WC category. Therefore, he cannot use any excuses that he doesn't have the right parameters around him. Definitely a talented driver, not really talented what he did in Austria, but we all have our ups and downs, so to speak. Huh? And well, as long as he learned from that, I think he's a fantastic driver.
He certainly is. He's currently heading himself around turns number 13 and 14. Head towards Stavolo, but in front of him we'll watch Samuel Carpenter, currently in P7 in Q1, who will charge towards Blanchimont right now to start this Q2 lap, Chris, and conserving the tyres on the out lap, and then straight away at the final bus stop chicane, not really a bus stop anymore, just a chicane, he's going to have to really push to begin his lap.
He sure has to.
And he's
I'm really curious what the order will be.
He's gone straight off the racetrack. Sorry to cut you off. He's almost pushed it too far, but he's recovered to begin his lap right now. And he heads and throws the car into La Source, trying to get onto the throttle now. He heads towards Arouge. On low fuel though for these pro guys, Chris, it's going to be quite easy to manage this car compared to those in WC who have to carry around 200 litres of fuel in the race.
Yeah, agreed.
Certainly so. As Carpenter heads towards the end of the first sector, looking for around a 30-second mark here, a 31.2 for him, so not bad. Just needs to improve on a little bit in the middle part of the lap, a 31.2 also for Giordano Valeriano. Look at a couple of other drivers behind who set their time. Bufumor's on an out lap, DeWald Nell is heading out of the pits, and Quakel and Callas will now also head out of the pits at the absolute last second. But for Samuel Carpenter, pushing very wide to the absolute limit on towards Pouon, he's going to have to really finish this lap off strong to get himself anywhere near those top times.
Yeah, well, the sector times might not say everything in Spa. I mean, there are people that are choosing for a more downforce and a more comfortable setup instead of top speed. But there will be guys that will do the other way around, and therefore the times in sector 1 and 3 might fluctuate a little bit.
Carpenter now on towards Blanchimont, his second sector time, a 47.0. For Valeriano, it was a 46.6, so he's currently around 4 tenths faster than the Origin front row racing driver. Ranzini has made a mistake on his one and only lap, and he is out of Q2 right now. And Carpenter, very wobbly on the exit, crosses the line with a 47.1. Let's see Giordano Valeriano, who will beat that with a 46.7. Good laps to start the session, and we wait for a few other drivers to cross the line now.
James Sadler is coming really close as David Cook is entering the straight now. 47.238 for him.
James Sadler's turn next to cross the line. He sets a 46.4, grabs pole position away, but can any of those guys behind beat it? We know Ranzini is out. We wait for Adrian Falcon, who will be next to cross the start-finish line. A 31.0 for Sector 1, 47.4 for Sector 2. That puts him actually quite off par for pole position.
But he had a top speed of 330 there. 330 in Sector 3.
Which is incredible, isn't it? Puts him in P3, only 4/10 off pole. So maybe in the race, Chris, he can make his way past a few people here.
Yeah. Might have just set his car up indeed for a complete race, racing mayhem, chaos, whatever. Now it's a relatively long wait for the rest of the pack. De Waldnell has just entered Sector 2. Bufumu is well on his way to do a good job, but will it be good enough to, well, make up some places? He's sliding around a little bit and has a big moment in the beginning of the end of Sector 2, and this is going from relatively good to horrible.
Yeah, De Waldnell has gone to complete horrible. He spun off and crashed. His lap is over as well, so he'll start below Giacomo Ranzini based on Q1 times. But for Christian Bufumo, those mistakes have cost him any chance at pole position. He's going to have to make up a wicked amount of time here as he comes towards the final chicane. We'll concentrate on Quakel and Sadler, who are at the middle part of their lap. For Christian Bufumo, crosses the line, only P6, the slowest of those completing their lap. Now, we look at Quakel, who'll be next to cross the line, Chris. So important he gets pole here to have a clean race.
Yeah, definitely, but Sander is able to put his fists up and provide a fight, as Jeroen is a little bit struggling through the last part of Sector 2. Probably low down for setup as well, but if Sander can get a nice grid position and maybe top 3 for him would be certainly preferable, then he can at least take the fight on track with Quakel instead of seeing him run off.
Well, at the moment, Quakel approaching that final corner has the chance to take pole position. He's currently up on James Sadler's time. Callis is a little bit down, but where will they position themselves in the final sector? Quakel takes pole with a 45.9, and for Sander Callis, who now crosses the line, only P2 and 4/10 down. But most importantly, Chris, he grabs that second position, and Jeroen Quakel is on pole.
Yeah, best of the rest for Sander, and that was the highest aim for him apparently. Since 4/10 is a humongous gap, 4.5 tenths even. We have to be precise. Huh? Yeah, it's gonna leave a nice perspective, nevertheless, for the race. And like we have seen in the qualify, some of the Go Speed cars are running really low downforce, and it's bound to stand for chaos on the track at least. Hopefully controlled chaos. We don't want to see a race like we've seen in Germany with Ace, I believe, where after the first lap we only had 10 competitors left out of a field of 22. So yeah, but these guys can hold it together, and over the course of the season I must say that Pro has been relatively clean. I mean, there have been some incidents, but it's racing, you know. It's not like karting, it's a contact sport. When we make contact with each other, things are bound to go horribly wrong. But yeah, sometimes egos collide on the track, right?
Yeah, certainly so, and that's the case. Right now, it is raining on the racetrack, Chris. I don't believe the Pro Series drivers were practicing for wet. It's not enabled, so I'm pretty sure that'll be fixed sometime soon in the next few minutes by the admins here, who are trying to do a good job. The rain, I don't think it's enabled for Pro with the rules.
Yeah, let's let's ask some digital marshals to go up on the track with some towels to clean up the mess. Yeah. No, but yeah, I'm forgetting instantly. Like we're not doing rain in Pro. Sorry, I forgot completely. Yeah. so it's going to be a dry race nevertheless. Yeah, this might be a little bit problematic in terms of in technical terms for the server, right?
Yeah, it certainly will, and we might actually be having to restart the server, but we'll start the race soon. And in terms of that, warm-up will commence, which is a 10-minute session as always. Drivers put in their race fuel.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so Samuel Carpenter, if we can go on board with him, he's going out on track with soft tires. I don't know, I can't read the intensity of the rain, so it might be 100%, it might be 10%. Oh, but he's looking to do a steady job on soft tires out in the rain with a little bit of spray. Let's see how he copes with Orus. Oh, he's going straight! He's going straight! I hope we got that, but that was just... Okay. I don't hope that's a warm-up for the race, but yeah.
A bit of fun by these guys. It's good to see. Pretty sure he killed a few spectators and tripped to the hospital as well. But who else is on the racetrack that we can watch right now? Let's look at Dewald Nell. He's behind a bit of traffic. That's Henry Holmesen in front, Andrea Kanata. Just have some fun here. We'll see if he can get past a few cars. But I think this showcase, because Chris, that we had the ace race in the rain yesterday, which was very entertaining and thoroughly brilliant for the viewers. And now today in WC, could be rain. We don't know. The forecast is really could be anything. So I mean, it's good to see that eventually in the future we'll hopefully get rain in Pro, as the World Nell has a huge moment, and it will make things a lot better for us entertainment-wise.
Yeah, true, but we already have the entertainment in Ace and in WC indeed. WC is bound to have a little bit of rain for you guys watching at home. The weather predictions are, well, as they are now on the track, so and it's not going to change. The chances of rain are just going to intensify. Yeah, coming back to your question, I think it's good to have Pro without rain. I mean, it's the rookie category, so to speak. Although we have seen a lot of drivers that are even able to run off WC level, like Quakel and Callas as well, and James Hatter, if he puts a little bit more speed into himself and corner logic, then I'm sure he will be able to do the job as well. But yeah, in terms of consistency, I think it's important to have at least one category that has dry weather, or at least a step-in model, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, we're still waiting to see what will go on, but I mean, we talk about this race as well coming up. Quakel on pole, Callas alongside him. The start here, it's going downhill, and we know Quakel last round bogged down, had that pretty much stalled start at Monza, caused some huge chaos behind. Definitely. It won't necessarily happen today because you're going to have extreme wheel spin, starting downhill off launch control.
Well, launch control is basically a form of traction control, so you shouldn't have wheel spin at all. So, don't know what you're on about, to be honest.
Yeah, well, if you use the TC override.
Oh, like that. Yeah, well, then indeed, you override the traction control and your back wheels are just going nuts. But yeah, we have seen that in real life Spa as well, where people, even Max Verstappen, last time in Spa, was rolling a little bit downhill before the start of the race. But yeah, wouldn't be problematic here, I think. But what might be problematic is indeed the server status. I don't know what's going to happen. Mike Partington, the admin of the server, is literally saying, guys, please bear with us while we sort the server out. I'm sure the sorting out will be done eventually. We might have to restart the warm-up, but that leaves more time for us to talk on this fabulous circuit that, well, just like Monza, is a little bit uncertain of its place on the calendar for the upcoming years, and I think that's really weird, and I think everybody would agree. Yeah. I mean, Spa is just a phenomenal value to have, just like Monza, just like Suzuka. It's like a banker for Formula 1. We have always been there, and that's not the best argument to come back, but it's what made Formula 1 what it is today in some aspects. I mean, it's Formula 1 culture, those tracks. Like Silverstone, you can't imagine a season without Silverstone on the calendar.
No, certainly so. It's good to see FSR has implemented that as well. I'm glad that they re-signed Albert Park to 2023, I think. So that
they
was
did that.
released there. So, but that's not one of the classic tracks. It's a great racetrack. I love it. I live very close to it. But
Classic for our generation, though.
Yeah, for our generation, it's always been pretty much the season opener, except for a couple of years. But I mean, we look at Spa now, and there's plenty of undulation, long lap, and some drivers have spoke about setup options at this track is quite important because small setup options at a long lap can gain you a couple of tenths, and whereas on a short track, let's say like Monza, maybe only half a tenth. So really important that you do practice as thoroughly as you can for this round.
Yeah, definitely, and it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Calendar-wise, on the real Formula 1 calendar, we always had lunatic races for a few years, like Korea and whatever, but also in the past, But the Grand Prix that's going to happen next year from Azerbaijan in Baku, I believe, right? I mean that is just I mean, come on, Is it like we're gonna have a Grand Prix in, I don't know, Alaska if they pay 50 million a year to Birdie? I mean,
well, it's possible. Depends if these cars can. Well, we've seen Formula 1 cars drive in the snow. I can't remember where I've seen that, but I've watched a video. Well, there might have been one that was a Toro Rosso in the sand. There's a video about that. It might have been David Coulthard driving a Red Bull, whatever.
Well, I have a nice idea for the calendar in 2025, and that's the Grand Prix of Pyongyang, North Korea. I mean, that would be that would be awesome. Imagine the North Korean Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's. I'm pretty sure they don't even know if Formula 1 exists. But I didn't know there was a North Korea, by the way. But that's all right.
You didn't know there was a North? Well, if there's a South Korea, there's bound to be a North. But no, there's. They are qualifying for the World Cup football though, and they well, let's just stop the talk about North Korea, Chris. It's far enough now. What is going to happen is that we are going to restart the server once more. Jonny and I are, apologizing for this hold-up, but it's creating a little bit extra tension as well, isn't it, guys? So hopefully we are getting treated by one heck of a show by these drivers, huh?
Hopefully so, and I think what implements the challenge for these guys right now. I mean, they're developing themselves, as we mention, every week in the Pro Series. Now you head through something like this. You're ready to race. The adrenaline is pumping. And your mood changes. It's hard to keep the same rhythm over this 10-15 minute delay. So, I mean, drivers may be focused during qualifying can lose that during the race. And, it could be visible at the start. Those who are, a bit hesitant, a bit nervous because of everything that's happened. But, I mean, I guess that's why these drivers are here in the Pro Series, to learn to control their emotions and to control, their mindset during a race. Yeah. And it's difficult for some, and it's someone that, naturally... Some of them are savants at it, and they're just perfect, and they're born to be great mentally.
Right. Yeah, true. But what's also good in that aspect is that these drivers are a little bit allowed to make mistakes from time to time. I mean, it's the Pro Series. If you do some mistakes. That have been done in the season in Pro. For instance, Australia was a horrible race with backmarkers that didn't know the principle of the blue flag. If you would do that in WC, people would really look at you and think like, this is unheard of. You cannot act like this. But in Pro, it's a little bit more, dealt with, so to speak. It's a learning environment. You can't expect from a first year Formula 1 rookie to make it in Formula 1 this year after, except if your name is Max Verstappen. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, certainly so. And I mean, money is more involved in WC, but I guess in Pro as well, these drivers still do pay for their licenses, and they do.
What do you
expect? Oh, rewards, budget. Depends.
Oh, like that, yeah. For the people who don't know, sorry to interrupt, but for the people who don't know, you get in WC, you get €2.50 for every point scored. So a victory is worth 62 euros 50. Nevertheless, entry fees are a little bit higher as well. But the highest of all is the level of competition, isn't that right? Pole position sitter Jonny Simon.
Yeah, and so I think consistency is also key, something that a lot of people need to practice, aka me, and I'll get to that soon. We'll see what happens over the course of today. Pressure's on, I guess, and if it rains, it's going to be more fun. I think that will keep me awake for once during the early hours of the morning, and hopefully now as these drivers are starting to get back into the server, the issue has been sorted, and we should hopefully get this race back underway.
Well, you should get a bucket of those tiny finger cups of really strong caffeine coffee they serve in Italy. You should just get a bucket of that and be like, I'm gonna finish this race. I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna be the next generation here. But you certainly have the speed, and I'm sure you do a good job in Spa. Did you practice a lot?
I did in the first week. I was very busy with work and other university studies, everything like that. But I think I practiced around about the same I did for every round. I wish I had more time, but we'll see. If that's the case, that probably means I'm going to crash again. If it's the same as every other round.
At least you have your excuses ready, like a pro driver. So, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean that bashing, but every driver, every top driver always has an excuse for something, because it cannot possibly be him. He's the best, and that's why I love top racing drivers. For instance, I love Schumacher in the back. Didn't really love his actions on track from time to time, but he was a true winner. So is Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton on his own diva way, But
I read about Mark Webber speaking about Vettel back in 2010 and how when things went wrong for Vettel, he'd always have an excuse, whether Webber bet him, and he said that cracked chassis, I don't know if you remember that, at Monaco. Webber mentioned that wasn't actually the case, that was made up just to, give Vettel an excuse. But I guess in the end, Vettel won the mental game over Mark Webber, and he got 4 championships out of it as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's always been a number 1, number 2. I remember Mark Webber crashing in the first Grand Prix of South Korea in 2010. Where he could have had a nice championship lead, but he crashed in the race and he intentionally took Rosberg with him. It's a different perspective. He was thinking that you can get wins for free in Formula 1, like in Malaysia. Where it was like multi-21. If you say that to Vettel, a true winner, he's like, dude, I don't care what the team wants, I want to win. That's everything to me, So, talking about real-minded and real dedicated drivers, I'm sure that Webber is really talented, and he was nice figure and character in Formula 1. But in terms of quality, I think Vettel was just superb above him. But then again, he gets beaten by another Australian guy called Daniel Ricciardo. That's also maybe a little bit down to the engine format. Not getting used to the new engine and having an old reference point. But I don't know if we are back on track with the stream, with the broadcast. But we are certainly driving and on a definitely dry track as well. So we are bound to get underway. All these guys have had the warm-up practice they need and even more. So it's going to be a really interesting race, and I'm really curious to see what top speed of some of these guys. It's gonna spoil it for others. I mean, seeing people with 330 kph in Sector 3, it's almost Monza territory. Really surprises me, to be honest. 330.
Well, if it starts raining, which it's not in Pro, that's not going to help. So I guess these guys thought, why not blitz it out, have some fun with some higher top speed. And we wait with 5 minutes remaining in whatever session this is. I have no idea what session this is, Chris. Hopefully it's warm-up, because we want to get racing soon.
That's Q1, dude. Q1.
Q1. So it's Q1 at the moment. We look at the championship standings anyway. We'll cover this right now. Quakel's on 362 and Callas second place on 208. So as we spoke about before, Quakel can win the championship if he takes the win today in the race alone and Callas does not finish the race. It doesn't matter what position, because whether you finish outside of the top 10, you still get 10 points for a classified finish. And I guess, at the same time, Chris, some people are with that rule and against it at the same time. There's positives and benefits of having that rule where you do get 10 points for finishing the race, no matter what position.
I'm strongly against it, to be honest. I mean, if we didn't have that, then Giordano Valeriano wouldn't have had a reason to go back on track in Austria and cause a complete chaos there. But and so did many others, by the way. I mean, we have seen plenty enough guys that drive back on track without a rear wing, which is beyond repair with heavy suspension damage. And I think, you know, if people are you know, still stationary for 5 minutes like Le Mans in the pit and whatever, just because they want to get those 10 points, that's not the right mentality I would encourage. I mean, you know, you have to try to make not mistakes during the course of a race, and even for me that's beyond the possibilities at the moment. But it's hard, you know, and we shouldn't allow a soft mentality for only finishers. That's not what racing is about. Racing is about winning. Go to hell with the Olympic spirit of participating is also winning, you know. That's not how it works in my book, at least. But it's nice for these guys to at least get some sort of a confidence boost after finishing P15, that they're still finishing and moving up through the ranks. But you know, you can be against it, you can be opposed to it, but yeah, it depends.
Certainly will. I'm just trying to decipher what is going on right now. We've moved to warm-up, so we'll spend maybe around about 5 minutes just to get the real road going again, get some grip out there on the racing line, and hopefully, as we see a few drivers just discussing what's going on, but hopefully, you know, in this session you get that real road out. We know with lower fuel, tyre wear is going to be a bit different today. We're expecting most likely a 2-stop. Chris, it's going to be a bit difficult to 1-stop like I think James Sadler did for his win last time around, but it's optimistic, can be done, but it's probably can't actually be done. It's going to be incredibly difficult around Spa, where you're expecting, you know, around 5% of wear a lap on each tyre.
Yeah, and then again, if you do a 1-stop, you're not really allowed to battle with other guys, because if you're for 2 or 4 laps into dirty air, you are bound to get extra tyre wear, because you need to input more steering angle into your lines, since you lose downforce because of the dirty air. But it's gonna be a tough call what is going to happen. But I think that's the fun as well. You know, let time tell. Maybe Jeroen and Sander are crashing each other out in turn 1, and we have Henry Hermsen who's gonna win the race. Who can say? At the moment, though, we have a battle going on between Callas and who is that? A yellow car, at least.
That is Giacomo Ranzini in that yellow car, and Callas gets ahead, and wow, he almost ran wide a little bit there. We're going to see a lot of passes. That's probably the best opportunity on the racetrack, Chris, there. At the end of the Kemmel Straight, into Les Combes. Other opportunities, maybe into that final chicane. You know, you never know. I think they have that DRS zone. I'm not sure if you're in support of it. The one from the final corner to La Source, very short, but very difficult to make passes.
Yeah, useless, but it might be a little bit of an advantage. I mean, turn 1 in Spa is definitely a turn that you have multiple apexes possible, you know, so you are able to dive there and not go into the wall like it used to be. You know, there's no wall anymore, just a big runoff area. So yeah, let's see. It definitely helps 1/10, and if that's just the 10th that you need to dive bomb someone controllably, then sure. Can see some moves there, but the safest way is to just, you know, let people pass you in La Source and overtake them back again on the Kemmel Straight, where you have the most useful DRS zone. You know.
Certainly so. And James Sadler in P15 currently just passed that DRS zone, the winner from the last race. We've had multiple winners this year. Jacques Wengler, probably the most controversial one back in Hockenheim. Not for what he did in that race, but in the race in Silverstone. And the race in Silverstone, another winner, Christoph Schur. We didn't mention last time out, but he managed to take his first win in the Pro Series. Michele D'Alessandro as well, who's not racing today. As well as Quaker, the championship leader.
But, do you know where Schroer is, by the way?
He's cannot race today. He's unable to attend. I know that because I'm obviously his teammate, but for personal reasons.
Alright, well, no problems there. Will he come back though?
Yeah, for sure. He will. I'll guarantee he will come back. He's a fighter.
Good. Good. For all the Christoph Schroer fans out there, from all the 100 people watching or whatever. Let's see what is going to happen now. I think we are starting in 1.5 minutes, so I would advise you all to get your popcorn ready, get your drinks ready, go to the bathroom if you need to. We don't have a Thrustmaster commercial today, but of course we would urge you all to buy a Thrustmaster product. My favorite one is definitely the F1 version. Do you have any experience with Thrustmaster products, Jonny?
I do.
Or are you just a Logitech fan yourself?
No, I've tried at a friend's house before, the T150, and it's fairly decent. I like it. Problem is though, if you're like me and you are a student and you need to allocate your money wisely. Yeah. I'm going with my wheel I bought 5 years ago, but it's good to have Thrustmaster on board for another year, and it's good to see them also sponsor of a couple teams out there here in FSR, and thanks for them to be on board for 2015 as well. And if you want to get involved, if you want to get involved on the action, visit the new Formula Sim Racing website, formula-simracing.net. Join in on the forums. You can join in on all the action, half price for the remaining races of the season.
Yeah, and it has become a nice new website as well. Finally, we're separate from the race department now. The race department is a nice platform as well, but being all alone out there is way more preferable for us, I assume. But back to the Thrustmaster thingy. I actually, when I finished on the podium in Pro in 2012, it was. In Abu Dhabi, I actually drove a step-in model from Thrustmaster, some €90 force feedback wheel, but still was able to do a relatively competitive job. Then I got the T500 F1, and you definitely noticed the price difference in that term. Not really in quality terms, but having that said, they make nice products, and it's a question of taste as well. But if you go really higher up the ranks, that's the thing as well. If you really want professional stuff like Fanatec things, you are bound to spend thousands of euros, perhaps. So. Nevertheless, it's gonna be the Thrustmaster World Championship for another year. But at the moment, we're still in the GP3 series, in the Pro series, so to speak. Jeroen Kwekel, the problem he will have, or I don't know if it's a problem for him, but is that if he becomes a champion in Pro, he is not allowed to drive in Pro next year for obvious reasons. Pretty curious what he is going to do in those terms. Is he going to Ace? Is he going to WC? What are your opinions about it for the people at home? Should he drive WC, or would it be preferable to do yet another year in Ace? Maybe do it step by step. Let us know.
Yeah, certainly so. Let us know. Hashtag Ask Commentator. We haven't had that for quite a while, simply because no one really utilized it, but we'll bring it back today. If any questions you have to query us with, go ahead. But for Kwekel, he's fared well this season, Chris, in WC. You go back to his Silverstone race, pole position, and he took over my car for that round when I couldn't race, and he carried on the 3-time Go Speed pole position race, the rankings, or whatever you want to call it. So he's got the potential, ended up finishing 4th. So you look at a race like that and say he's definitely top class WC material. Even the first race of the season, qualifying in P2.
Yeah, leading the race but crashing, I believe. And then Go Speed then just twist the race and just took over WC and was like, okay, enough is enough. You had your fun. This is our year. But it's nice to see some new names, and I'm sure in a few years' time, Mohammed Patel and Peter Brilliard will be the new names that are memorized. I mean, those guys are doing a fantastic job for Twister this year.
Certainly are. We hope this race will get underway soon. It should in a few minutes' time, so stay tuned, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. If there's, a lot of variants of people out there. Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, and if we can go on board with James Sadler, we will see him crashing with, I believe, the Waldnell, or the teammate of the Waldnell. It was Craig
Yeah.
Baxter. Well, not really nice move. If we go into the replay, we see James just going onto the straight, and there's a Craig Baxter intentionally crashing James Sadler. It seems. I mean, I hope. But yeah, that's one epic crash right there. Hopefully, we will not see that in the real race, because that would definitely be a season ban.
Yeah, I think Craig did apologise, said it was due to a bad start, and that's a fairly terrible start there. Plenty of wheel spin, and getting in James Sadler's way. Sadler needs to stay focused. He wants to get another win, you know, he's definitely not satisfied with one. A lot of these drivers on the grid, the benchmark really is today, as much as we've spoken about him, is the championship leader, Quakel. So right now, if we go on board with Pashalis, who's heading towards Eau Rouge, he's right behind. He's sort of testing himself now. This is perfect. Should Quakel maybe even just pull off the track, because he doesn't want Sander to practice, you know, catching right up to him. But it seems like Quakel's unfazed by the practice Sander's getting right now.
Yeah, and it seems that we are doing the full session, so we will start in 1 minute 20 seconds, and this race is finally underway. Coming back to the WC though, I just saw the weather predictions, and I believe we have a 60 to 65% chance of rain this afternoon. So I would like to see the WC guys fighting a full race distance on wet tires, because it's absolutely well, mayhem to drive in the rain, to be honest. But it's a nice add-on, to be honest.
Certainly is, as we wait for the session to start. Question coming through, Chris. Is your favourite F1 driver? We know you're a Dutchman, so I can see where this is going, but if we go back to Dutch drivers anyway, you know, Verstappen coming through, one of your favourites has to be Robin Freins, I presume.
Oh, definitely. How did you know that? Did I talk even on him in this broadcast? No, definitely. Robin Freins is, well, my opinion, the best talent the motor racing has seen since the beginning of it. I mean, come at me, bro. You know, haters gonna hate. But that's my opinion. But Max Verstappen is definitely my favorite. Not only because he's a Dutch guy, but I would have expected Max to join Formula 1 and be a little bit, you know, adaptive and thinking, okay, I'm gonna just not look around, but have an orientation year and just, you know, see what's coming to me. But instead of doing that, he's like, okay, I might be 17, but I'm not scared of diving you. You know, I'm not scared to overtake, and that young, pure racing attitude is really what Formula 1 needs. I mean, some overtaking maneuvers that Verstappen did also in China were just phenomenal, and then in Spa as well, the same issue. I mean, he's just my tastemaker for this season. But yeah, it used to be Vettel, but now it's definitely Verstappen.
Moving on towards the race here. 27 laps, 60% distance as always, and no rain this time out. We know ISI, who have done a terrific job with rFactor 2 and implementing the rain finally, and we're not using that for the Pro Series, for later on in WC, but 20 seconds till the formation lap commences, and Jeroen Quakel on pole position, Sander Callis alongside him in that Net-Rex car, James Sadler and Giordano Valeriano on the second row. Behind them, it's Adrian Falcon for Go Speed, and Samuel Carpenter in 6th place for Origin Front Row Racing. He needs a good result today. What can he do from 6th on the grid? Dave Cook down in 7th position for Avid Chronic Racing. Good session from him, another man who needs a good strong result with some points. And to round out the top 10, it's Christian Befumor, Giacomo Ranzini and DeWald Nell. Now the rest of the grid is on your screen to the left hand side. Take a look all the way down to P20. Now we have the soft and medium tyres this round, yeah, Chris. And that two-stop strategy.
Sorry to undercut you, but I am looking at Ranzini, and might be a visual bug, but he's driving with hard tyres, orange compounds in my screen.
Yeah, it must be the same issue we had last time out in Monza with
the I hope so for him, because that would be not nice. The Wild Nell going off track. Wow, almost crashing on the warm-up lap. That's not nice. Coming back to your rain point, PC and the creators of rFactor 2 indeed have implemented rain already, but we decided not to use it as FSR because it was too buggy and unrealistic for our standards. And since we hardly do any race restarts in this entire season during any race. We want to give the best possible environment and for us drivers and for everyone trying to join. So, you know, finally it's steady enough to be implemented. Let's say that. But yeah, rFactor 2 is making drastic measures into the right direction, and update by update, build by build, it's getting better and better and better. So, what are your predictions for turn 1? Is Sander Kallas gonna jump Jeroen after that poor start in Monza? Is he gonna do it again, or?
We'll see if Jeroen has actually worked on his starts over the past 2 weeks. That's the interesting question. Two guys who aren't optimistic for a clean start are David Cook and David O'Reilly, the two average Chronic Racing teammates, electing for a pit lane start. So David Cook's great qualifying performance in P7 has not taken the grid. He'll start in the pit lane, obviously, as I just mentioned.
I don't understand that, sorry, but I don't understand it, and I also don't respect it. If you qualify 7th, you're not going to start from the pit just because you are afraid of chaos in turn 1, right?
Yeah, they've obviously not confident of the drivers around them to make it clean around the start, but now towards the end of this lap, it's, as you mentioned, Chris, those top 10 all on the soft compound rubber. Ranzini, who's finally loaded his car, didn't set a time in Q2, the first guy on that prime tyre, the medium. Then it's Zaharov behind, Andrea Kanata as well on the medium tyre, and that is about it. Actually, Henry Hermsen in 19th, the last man, as we approach the grid for the start of this race.
Yep. And what a race it's going to be. Spa finally back on the calendar, and Jeroen Kwekel is stationary, but the rest of the pack is still coming on to the last straight. Some more burnouts being done to maximize the optimum temperature, and now we are waiting for the lights to go on and off again. David Cook is still in the pits. So he's not participating, it seems. Doesn't matter at the moment, the lights are on. And they are out, and we are racing. Good start from Kwekel. Sander Kallas is able to follow as well. But James Sattler is having a better start. He's going up to the inside. Might be able to take Kallas, but Kallas is taking the wide line earlier on the power as well. Takes that P2, and there's a massive spin. Valeriano is off. Valeriano is off and is going to retire from this race. Holy
Huge
moly.
incident. But Giordano Valeriano into the wall, he's out of the race. We go back to the front of the pack, most importantly right now. It's a huge battle as James Sadler searches for P2 on Sander Kallas. He has the outside line into Lecombe, and I think, well, side by side even, so Sadler's trying to stick it, and there's contact between the two. Sadler off the track, so is Kallas, both out of the race without a rear wing.
That is a horrible mistake from James Sadler, I believe. Oh no, Sander Kallas is actually driving on without a rear wing. Don't get the retard award from me, dude. Don't get the retard award from me. Seriously. But James Sadler is obviously really annoyed. That gap was always to disappear, although he was a little bit alongside, but that's just way too optimistic. And it causes them to crash both. This is insanely stupid from, well, maybe a little bit of both of them, but in the opening lap, that's like
certainly.
a kick in the balls, man.
Yeah, so there's plenty of racing to go on. Unfortunate for those two. Giordano Valeriano, we know, out of the race. DeWaldnell as well, also in P19. Sadler's retired, and Kallas almost most certainly will retire. And what that means, Chris, is that if Jeroen Kwekel wins the race and Kallas hasn't finished, then Kwekel can win the championship at this round. As we come towards the end of the first lap, the two Go Speed cars lead the race. Jeroen Kwekel will cross that line to end lap 1 of 27, and he leads by 1.1 seconds ahead of Adrian Falcon. Giacomo Ranzini from 9th on the grid all the way to 3rd. Incredible start from him to avoid the chaos. 2.6 seconds behind, as well as Zaharov in 4th. Another terrific start. Then back for the rest of the top 10, it's Andrea Kanata and Jaya Ventura, Christian Bufumo, Jonathan Ethier, Craig Baxter, and Henry Hermsen, who's also made it up into P10. Some great starts here, Chris.
Yeah, and what went wrong for Valeriano is that Samuel Carpenter was on the outside and another Go Speed car was on the inside. Samuel Carpenter actually, unfortunately collecting Valeriano and ending basically the race of the Waldnell, but escaping scot-free. So yeah, Carpenter should definitely be warned at some point, but that's not my issue. Sander Callas though made it back into the pit, but I don't think he will get this repaired since he doesn't have a rear wing. So it's game over for him. Obviously he tries to repair the damage. He knows he cannot fight for a point position, but indeed if he finishes the race, or at least gets within 5 laps behind, you're still classified, it seems. He tries to get those 10 points and keep his championship alive, but he has to be realistic. Without a rear wing, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you never know what could. Yeah, certainly so. You never know what could happen. Anything, miracles can occur. You never know, as Adrian Falcon's losing 10th by 10th to Quaker on the lead. Now he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder here as we end lap 2, Chris. Falcon's had a few chances over the past couple of seasons to win some races. Yes, his teammate is in first place and he's going for the championship, but Quaker doesn't really necessarily need to win. He can also wrap up the championship in any of the remaining rounds. So Falcon's going to battle this out. He's going to want to beat your own and grab that first win of his FSR career.
Yeah, he will definitely aim for it. If we watch on board with Adrian Falcon, I am really curious to see what his top speed will be in comparison to Jeroen Kwekels. Well, Jeroen is etching out 335, and Falcon is actually doing 331. So, in 2 hours time, Jonny Simon will have a top speed of 335. Right, Jonny?
Yeah, maybe so. Me and Jeroen run similar setups, so that could certainly be the case. But
335? Are you insane? Well, as long as it's working, I mean, okay.
It's working. I heard your lap times. It's faster than yours, I'll tell you that. I even heard your WC guys, so we're confident. But nevertheless, we'll let 2 hours time decide that for WC. I'm sure talking does nothing for us. There's a big lead right now. Guys who are letting their racing do the talking are those 2 Go Speed drivers in first and second, 4.4 seconds ahead of Giacomo Ranzini in P3. But we mustn't forget, Chris, Ranzini is in a good position here. On those medium tyres, he's going to probably switch onto the softs for the second 2 stints.
Yeah.
He can get a great podium here for the Aventa by Pescara team.
He can gamble as well, though. He can gamble and just take it easy from here. Maybe let Dmitry Zarov and Kanata's on medium tires as well, so is Zarov. But maybe he can gamble for a one-stop if he preserves his tires. And I think it's doable if you really watch your right foot. If you do 14 laps on medium or 15 laps, then the other 13 or 12 are basically a piece of cake with 50-60 liters. But not for you, Jong. No, I know, but for them.
Another man with a great start is David O'Reilly in 12th place, who started from the pit lane. So as Callas is out of the race, he came out of the pit lane I was watching, and his car is obviously way too undrivable. So right now, Sander Callas out of the race. He comes out 4th retirement here on lap 3 of 27. David Cook has a great run here on Mihailo Vicentovic on the Kemmel Straight. Flicks on DRS as that's enabled for the drivers, and he'll sail past Mihailo right now. And Vicentovic has had an up and down season, but lately as he tries to attack back at the last second, he loses that position to David Cook. Lately, Mihailo Vicentovic, Chris, has been consistent, and he's been doing a great job. The Scarpenter also wants to make his way through the field.
Yeah, definitely, and he even got the top 10 finishing in what was last year, I believe, with all those retirements. Yeah, he's doing a steady job and improving day by day, and eventually then he will reach success. Let's hope for him he can improve faster than all these other guys, because it's a really competitive environment in Pro this year, and that's what we cherish as well. That's what we want to see at home. A little bit unfortunate with the Callas and Sattler there, but yeah, you go for a gap, and sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. But unfortunately, with a racing car where things can break off, you don't get a second chance. Like I said, we hardly restart any races, so it's really unfortunate for both. Certainly so. Nevertheless, Jeroen Kwekels isn't sorry mate, but Jeroen Kwekels isn't driving away from Adrian Falcon as I would have predicted. I mean, considering the pace he carried in qualify, you know, you would say like a second a lap to the rest, but you know, he's driving away with 5/10 lap. I mean, any racing driver would shine for that. David O'Reilly though, what happened there? Michailo Vicenovic overtook him. David O'Reilly went out of the way for his teammate, David Cook, but then got overtaken as well.
So
yeah, but I remember in Austria where David O'Reilly crashed David Cook. You know, that was he forgot to brake. Remember that? That was a horrible moment for both.
But as Samuel Carpenter also makes his way up into P14, David O'Reilly falling through the field. He told me before the race he wants a consistent, great top 10 finish. He's going to have to fight for it today as Vicenovic and Carpenter. Samuel Carpenter here, Chris, is not having a good time passing Michailo Vicenovic. It's not easy. He's going to have to really push and be aggressive right now. Fight for that position, and Michailo is really trying to push to gain or stay at least in P13.
Samuel might have sustained minor damage from that turn 1 incident, but not too many, I'm sure. All his wing end plates are still where they should be, and it's now a battle between him and the dirty air, and the defending Michailo Vicenovic that is eager to get into the 10th spot, but he is going wide, and that leaves Samuel Carpenter to go through, and he almost lost the car completely there. Managed to keep it on the road, so brilliant save for him, but it is costing him a position and definitely 2 seconds out of his time.
Certainly so. They come through Blanchimont, those two guys battling for P14. David O'Reilly might have a shot here into turn 1 even, if you can get this final corner right. Vicenovic runs a little bit wide. Now David O'Reilly just needs a good exit, and he's struggling to get the traction down in that Avid Chronic racing car. Flicks on DRS, but as you spoke about, Chris, only a dive bomb here into turn 1, which he doesn't attempt, is the only option, is the feasible option, and yeah, he's too far off.
But I'm sure he will get a move in after this beautiful Rouge corner. Oh my god. There we go, a fast to the left and a swing up to the right uphill. And here we go, he flicks the DRS on and there it goes. And ooh, he has to change sides dramatically quick. But he is getting the move done. Brilliant move out of the book, leaves enough space for a braking maneuver from Vicenovic. And he is up to P14, David O'Reilly is.
He is, so David O'Reilly making some good progress here. Lap 5 of 27, have a very long race here still to go, so anything can happen. That lead between the top two, Quakel, 3.3 seconds, slowly disposing of his teammate there, Adrian Falcon, who's looking settled for a podium position as long as he keeps it together. And Ranzini as well, impressive result, Chris. We look at Ranzini in the championship. Yeah, he joined a bit later on in the season. He's, hasn't had the best of results. 56 points so far. He's currently 19th in the standings, so this podium finish will be absolutely incredible for him.
Definitely, and it's a confidence boost as well. I mean, getting a podium result is urging you to fight a little bit harder to maybe get a win even. But when you're driving against Jerome Quakel, it's definitely one hell of a fight you have to put up. At least he's gone next year by the looks of it, if we finish right now. But yeah, still have to finish the race.
Certainly so.
Hard for some, right?
don't start. But,
I'm mocking myself so hard. No, I'm mocking myself.
Oh, we'll mock each other equally right now, because that's something we both failed to do.
Yes,
so as we look at that lead, it's extruded once again, 4.1 seconds for Adrian Falcon. So that's relatively the case right now. Quakel is 10th by 10th faster. Falcon's obviously struggled in qualifying trim, but for Ranzini, I'm more so surprised by the fact that he's kept within 8 seconds of the lead here. This guy has some great race pace in that event by Pescara sim racing car. The problem is though, Andrea Kanata there in P5, his teammate cannot get past Zakharov, and that's costing him an incredible amount of time. The same car, possibly the same setup, so in terms of driver skill, if that's the same, you'd expect him to be around Giacomo's position, but he just cannot get past Team Horizon's Dmitry Zakharov.
Yeah. Do you know, by the way, what a pit stop cost in terms of seconds? 17, I think?
Yeah, it's around that sort of figure, 17 to 20, and it's you cut through the first corner, you save a little bit of time, final corner as well, you do go wide as well. So we're expecting it to be around that mark. So, I mean, what you're saying is, right now, Chris, I can see is, Quakel pits in the next few laps, he'll basically come out around P3, and he'll avoid all the traffic.
6, I think. But, yeah, well, 15 seconds to Zarov. Well, what's up?
Huge moment for Quakel. Sorry to get you off there, but he almost lost the car into turn 1 at the source. Minor moment, saved it. It would have cost him a few tenths to Adrian Falcon, but he continues unscathed on lap 7 of 27, 20 to go in this race.
Yeah, is this going to be a sign for Quakel that he's going to pit? I mean, if he's doing a 2-stop race, then definitely we would expect him to come into well, 1 or 2 laps basically. I mean, it's not really nice to pit when you have 4 laps to go, for instance. But yeah, let's see. Maybe Quakel is aiming for a 1-stop. Who can tell? You can tell.
So.
You can tell us.
Oh, no, it's you know, strategies are dynamic and they change every now and then. As Quakel will swivel past the wonderful Pawn corner, a great vantage point for those at Spa in the real world. So right now, go ahead.
Sorry, I want to say the thing is that Ronzini over the last 1.5 laps kept the gap exactly 8.3 seconds, and he actually gained some time in sector 2 because of the tremendously low downforce Ghost Speed is running, and Falcon as well on his term. So if he can keep this gap, you know, consistent, then you know, maybe I have hopes for Ronzini, as you know. Maybe he's gonna be the man of the match, so to speak, if he does a 1-stop. But yeah, I can't look into his head to see what his strategy will be. So let's just see what is going to happen. What is going to happen is that Quakel is doing another lap. So is Falcon, who might be able to do an undercut if they are both on a 2-stop as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. But Ronzini now. Yeah, again, second sector.
Final sector.
Comes to 7.7, but then loses half a second in the last sector again. But the difference, yet again, is 8.3. So the cutoff point on Quakel, his tires, those are degrading a little bit quicker under the same conditions and as a harder compound like medium. I mean, that's 1+1 in racing terms. But if he can keep this up, then the medium compound is the better one to be on at the moment in terms of the wearage that it has undergone.
2 drivers making a pit stop. Samuel Carpenter will go onto the medium white stripe tyre. Jonathan Ethier also making his pit stop for Force Canada. Down the order, David Cook and Andrea Ventura having a small position swap. David Cook gets ahead of the Origin front row racing car. But down there, someone who's going to have to consider an undercut, Chris, is Andrea Kanata there in P5. A guy who right now is currently stuck in a little bit of a sandwich. Craig Baxter trying to charge in from behind as he throws the car into Puan at light speed. And Kanata in front just still has not gotten past Dmitry Zakharov since the start of the race.
Yeah, true, but he's getting closer and ever closer. But yeah, those guys are all on medium, Zakharov, Kanata and Baxter. And even Henry Hampson behind that. The Fumu behind him though is on soft. And fresh softs? No, he didn't pit yet. But oh, and we have a car off. It's Zarov. It's Zarov actually. If we can watch the replay with him, he comes out of sector 2 with a slight, you know, miscalculation and just turns the car straight into the barrier, losing his front wing. And a lot of debris on the track as well.
Yep. That was a round curve Paul Frere. So Zakharov now he's going to go straight into the pit lane. Fresh tyres, and that's quite disappointing for him. He had such a promising race as Adrian Falcon has also made a pit stop onto the soft tyres. And can he get in front of the traffic here? And he might struggle though. He'll have the slipstream going into Eau Rouge, or at least at the exit of Eau Rouge. So right now, behind Andrea Kanata, Adrian Falcon maybe trying to undercut his teammate. And look how close he's getting to Andrea Kanata right there. Incredible stuff for Adrian Falcon. He's going straight ahead into P3, and that was lucky for him, Chris, because if he was stuck behind traffic, he wouldn't have gained the time he needed on his teammate as well.
So if Kanata is going straight, Kanata is going straight off, misses the apex, and that allows Baxter to take P4 from him out of well, hopefully not a brake failure, but a miscalculation from Canada's side. +1 for trying though, Andrea, don't get me wrong, but Valcon is having the better of them all, and he is now, yeah, indeed back on track with fresh tires. So there goes the one-stop strategy from him at least.
Certainly so. So Quakel continues, so does Ranzini, but Quakel is on that softer compound rubber. We'll see if he enters the pit lane here. We're approaching lap 10 of the race, so finally
Quakel
getting double digits done. And he'll
does not have his light on.
Yeah, it doesn't have his light on, so he's continuing for another lap around, and he will cross the line on lap 10. He leads this race by 9.5 seconds ahead of Giacomo Ranzini, who's sliding his way through the final chicane. Adrian Falcon in P3 made his pit stop. We'll see how much time he can gain. We'll track his lap times in comparison to his teammate there in first position. Then it's Craig Baxter in fourth for JTV by Origin front row. Eventa by Pescara's Andrea Canutta in P5, rounding out the top 10. It's Henry Hermsen, David Cook, who started from the pit lane, into P7, and J.R. Reconi, Andrea Ventura, and finally David O'Reilly in P10. So right now, Chris, we're waiting for a few guys to enter the pit lane. Oh, it's very hectic at the final corner now. Carpenter, Vicentovic battling once again, and Bufumo may have DRS here on David O'Reilly, searching for the position up the inside. He goes for it, a huge lunge here, and he takes away P10. So David O'Reilly drops down to 11th. And will O'Reilly actually have the slipstream here?
Yeah, and but Carpenter back there. If we can go on board with Carpenter, he's going out outside of Eau Rouge and they touch! And it's end of the race for both of them. I have no doubt that's the end of the race for both of them. If we can go on board with Samuel Carpenter, you see him going up to O'Reilly, and O'Reilly is just slowing down. I don't know, I would forgive Samuel for trying that, but then they make contact. And they both end up in the wall like a true Jacques Villeneuve.
Huge incident right there. Poor. And so Samuel Carpenter out of the race, so is David O'Reilly. And incredible that it's just the simulation world, Chris, because that could have been quite deadly if it was anywhere else. But unfortunate for those two. We're battling in the midfield, entertaining race. Quakel continues for another lap. When we look at lap times last time around, the gap when they pitted was around 4.5 seconds between him and Falcon. This time around, Quakel sets a 1 minute 50.5, last lap a 1 minute 50.3. Adrian Falcon, we'll see when he crosses the line right now. He's gained probably around 2 or 3 seconds this lap, incredibly. So right now, crosses the line a 1 minute 48.5. So he's gained 2 seconds there on
That's
his
a big
teammate.
chunk.
I think Quakel needs to pit this lap to cover him off.
Precious? Who was that? Canata! It's Canata! Canata is off the track. Just gets hit by it is
Henry Hermsen.
Henry Hermsen. Holy
So
moly!
I think it looked like Canata lost the car, and Hermsen wasn't expecting the speed difference. But Ventura's in the pit lane, or he was. Andrea Canata also in the pits. Probably a bit of damage to repair. There he's sitting in his box for so long, Chris, and he drops down to the last position, currently running on the racetrack. And look at Zaharov here and Jonathan Ethier. Zaharov's going to have a great run here on the Force Canada car. And while this is all happening, should hopefully maybe see the leader pit. But look at this, Eau Rouge and Zaharov out of the race. Huge incident on the entrance of Eau Rouge. We're seeing a comical amount of errors so far in this middle part of the race, Chris.
Yeah, and it's wow, that's just insane. He was sort of alongside, but he didn't. No, he could have braked maybe, but he also didn't expect the Force Canada car to close that gap so tightly. But he was clearly alongside, is what we call alongside. If your front wing or front wheels are alongside the rear wheels of the next guy, you should, of the guy in front, you should definitely leave a little space. Maybe the Force Canada car didn't expect that. Nevertheless, he is out, and Jeroen Quakel is in, since he is into the pit. So 12 laps done, 15 laps on the medium compound. That is going to be a one-stop strategy. And you're stunned by that fact, I know. But nah, he's definitely going for it. But that's also a little bit covering, because he did have the gap to Ranzini. I mean 9 or 10 seconds even after the end of his stint. and you know, plenty of room. Adrian Falcon though tries to make life a little bit hard for Jeroen Kwekel. What will they do? Will he have DRS? Indeed he does.
He does.
I mean, yeah, but for the detection point I was a little bit confused where that was. He is on the outside though, Kwekel on the inside, but he lets him live, and Adrian Falcon takes the place for now. But Jeroen Kwekel is a tough cookie, he won't easily crack. Uses his head though, and gets slots in on P3 at the moment. 13 drivers yet in contention. A lot of retirements, like you said earlier, Jonny. Jantovic is into the pit.
This could work out quite well.
What's Jantovic doing?
Think about it. Jantovic in.
Oh, he's just trolling in the pit.
Oh, he's missed his box. I think he can't find it.
Look what he's doing.
I think he's missed his box.
He's gonna get disqualified.
A country mile.
He's disqualified.
What?
What's he doing? I mean, intentionally disqualifying himself. This is what I've never seen in my entire life.
He's obviously missed his pit box by light years, and he's tried to reverse back into it, and unfortunately, as Ranzini there in P1 has a huge lockup. Oh, this could get very interesting as Kwekel also on that slower tyre is trying to, well, he's going to be too far back. So for Falcon now, he could take the lead. Ranzini leads another lap, but Chris there for Vicentovic missed his pit box. It's difficult to see though. You got to give him, you know, a bit of leeway there. The pit boxes are a little bit downhill.
Here we go, but Adrian Falcon is really closing to the door, into the inside of O'Roots, going on to the outside, and this is how you should do it, and not like we've seen earlier. Kwekel now, is he capitalizing as well? And alongside Ranzini on the inside, but the supreme top speed combined with the DRS effect allows Kwekel to make the pass. Well, look, easy peasy, but you know, it's top speed related. He doesn't have the downforce at this moment where Ranzini has, and Ranzini has still got to make his pit stop as well. So this is the gap that Jeroen Kwekel has. The guy in front of him, Adrian Falcon, is bound to be on a two-stop strategy, and Kwekel will just have to use his head, and if he finishes this race with 25 points in the bag, he will be able to call himself the best of the Pro Series in this year from Formula Sim Racing. Hopefully for him he will do it, but the race is still 13 laps long and 13 laps old, so that's the thing, 13 and a half I should say. But great battles here on the track, and it's not that Kwekel can just sit back and relax. He really has to watch out from time to time.
He does, certainly so. Pascal Charbon just made a pit stop down there in 12th position. Right now we look towards, we're coming towards, well, Kwekel's got a huge run. I'll go back to my fact later. Maybe looking up the inside of his teammate. He is halfway distance of the race right now. Lap 14 of 27, we've crossed halfway, and Adrian Falcon leads the race, but only just. Because his teammate on the slower tyre right now is having a great run on him as Ranzini enters the pit lane this time out for Eventa by Pescara, and I think he might be jumped by Craig Baxter in 4th position, but most importantly the battle for the lead. We're going to see DRS here, Chris, and I think Jeroen can maybe take the lead away from his teammate.
He's going to walk past. He's going to walk past with DRS, but that's okay. Adrian Falcon isn't putting up a fight, and why should he as a teammate, knowing that Jeroen is fighting for a championship? I mean, that's only shit that Mark Webber would do. Agreed? No, just joking. But
maybe
no,
so.
It was Malaysia. It was the second race. It was all in his favor. Adrian Falcon, though, he still has to make a pit stop and is on older, more damaged and worn out tires than Kwekel is. Doesn't matter that it's soft and mediums at the moment. The tires of Jeroen are just 2 or 3 laps old, or young, I should say. So he's gonna make a run to the finish line, I'm sure, and just keep it conserved because he has fresh, clean air in front of him, and except if he finds a back marker like he once did in Australia, I'm sure he has no problem into taking this win home.
Yeah, certainly so. So Kwekel now is showing why he's leading the championship and could possibly win it here today at Spa by taking the win, because we know Sander Callis retired from the race on lap 1 with that contact with James Sadler. So right now on lap 14, we know Quaker leading, away from Adrian Falcon. Craig Baxter in third. Behind him is Giacomo Renzini, who's on that one-stop strategy. And the two BBR Light Pro Racing cars, Andrea Raikkonen and Christian Bufumo in 5th and 6th. Henry Holmes in 7th. David Cook in 8th position, slowly pedaling away to get a good points result. Then behind him it's Andrea Ventura and Andrea Kanata, the two of them always around the same positions. And then Jonathan Ethier and Pascal Chapon, the remaining guys on the lead lap. The remaining runners in this race. Craig Baxter enters the pit lane for Origin front row. Quickly look up for the retirements. Dmitry Zakharov at Eau Rouge. David O'Reilly and Samuel Carpenter with that unfortunate contact as well. The same goes for Callis and Sadler. De Waldnell, Valeriano and Mihailo Vicentovic, obviously with that reversing incident in the pit lane. Here we go, Chris Baxter out of the pit lane in a little bit of traffic here.
Yeah, definitely, and David Cook is passing him when he's coming out of the pits, and David Cook is actually back where he started, in P7. Good job after 15 laps. Could have just started the race, but you know, your call. Craig Baxter though with the DRS and with a little bit of a toe is able to close up, and he has the inside corner. David Cook is hanging on to the outside though, and he does so superbly. Craig has to use his head and knows that this race is still 12 laps old and possibly well, fighting a podium. That's a little bit too fast said for me. Ronzini is fighting in that third spot at the moment, and it's still 12 seconds towards him. Nevertheless, we have seen many things happen this race, and there's bound to be happening some more things, I'm quite sure. But for Craig, it's important to get past David right now, to get his tires to the maximum potential of his stint.
Yeah, certainly so, and that's going to be very interesting towards the remaining 12 laps as it ticks over to 11 laps remaining in this event as Quakel crosses the line for lap 16 of 27. And he goes through La Source, a 1.7 second lead over his teammate. You know, going back to that Vettel-Weber thing at Malaysia, apparently Vettel in his contract had a clause or had something that mentioned where he's not allowed to be told team orders. So smartly, he passed Weber, and he used it as a defense mechanism with his lawyers and agents later on, so that Red Bull couldn't penalize him. So I think when you speak about smart champions, and yes, it's not ethical, but you know, you got to win and you got to do whatever it takes. You know, not cheating like a few people.
But sorry to cut you off, but I mean, he clearly beat them on track. If Weber thinks that he can get a victory because his teammate allows a victory, he should drive IndyCar, you know, or something like that, like stupid NASCAR where they bash each other's heads in after the race because, you know, they cannot use words there. But you know, it's Formula One. You want to win. It's the highest form of competition. I mean, you know, if you're driving in the same team, or if you're running in the same team for 100 meters, you're not gonna say, okay, you take the win because I like you so much. No, I want to be the champion. It's sport, man. Come on.
Yeah. Good point.
So no, Weber should just, you know, shut up moaning. To be honest, he had all the chances to be the world championship. No, seriously, and he blew it. But yeah, who's gonna blow it now this race? Henry Harrison going a little bit wide to that beautiful left-hander, with nothing to worry about. David Cook though still behind him, and Craig Baxter isn't able to make a pass work at the moment. If David has the top speed, then it will be a little bit tricky and maybe next to impossible for Craig to overtake him. Adrian Falcon is into the pit right now, and that allows Jeroen Kwekel to build up his gap to almost 20 seconds over possibly Ronzini. Ronzini on the one stop. So Ronzini is taking this place, 95% sure. This is gonna be a close one though. Ronzini Falcon. Oh, it's Ronzini. It's Ronzini, just by 1 second. Just by 1 second. But Falcon has DRS and Falcon has tremendous top speed. So this, ooh, they almost touch. I mean, Falcon has to lift off the throttle in order to avoid contact with Ronzini. Ronzini can go back into the draft, but Falcon is just easing away with the higher top speed and DRS enabled. So the only thing Ronzini can do now is hopefully stay close enough in Sector 2 and even Sector 3, and maybe try it next lap. But if he doesn't do it, then Falcon is just gone. he's clearly the faster of the two at the moment.
Certainly so. When we look at tyre rules, Falcon has to obviously run the medium tyre on his last stint because his first 2 stints of the race are on that soft yellow marked compound rubber. It's the faster of the 2 available for these drivers on a dry track. And we see a few position changes down in P6 and 7. Craig Baxter and David Cook battling. And right now, Craig Baxter getting the better of the Avid Chronic racing car. So good stuff from him up into P6. Ahead of him, though, it's Bufumo and Hermsen. As Hermsen runs wide at Puon, he's going to lose an incredible amount of time. And that's just going to let Craig Baxter reel in the Tartec racing driver there in P5.
Nice opportunistic moment for Craig when he passed David Cook. David was a little bit slow out of a turn and had a little bit of a twitchy moment. Craig was instantly there to take the place, and he instantly removes himself from David Cook as well and is now hunting for Henry Hermsen. If Henry does those moves that he did earlier on again, then I'm sure that Craig will have no problem at all catching up to Hermsen. But the thing is that Baxter still has to conserve some tire life, but because he is on a 1-stop as well, I believe. So, Hermsen is into. Oh no, it's Bufumo who's into the pit. So that relieves Baxter to P5 and Hermsen to P4. The podium is going to be really difficult for Hermsen and Baxter, but best of the rest is definitely the next one in line. 16 seconds between Hermsen and Ranzini. Not going to happen in 9 laps time.
I'll tell you what, Christian Bufumo pushing to the limit on the pit lane entry, almost collected his left rear tyre with the wall. Wow. But he's outside of the pit lane right now. P10 as well. Did you see that? It was very close between him and the wall. But with these drivers, Ethan also enters the pit lane. I think he might have actually scraped the wall. Right now, though, we look at that battle for the lead. I'm pretty sure Quakel's got this all said and done. For Falcon, it's going to be very optimistic to make up that time on his teammate. It'll all come towards the end of the stint. But I think Falcon pretty much has to concentrate more on defending from Ranzini because he hasn't broken away as quickly as we thought.
True, but Falcon does have the better tire at the moment. I mean, his tires are 3 laps younger than Ranzini. Ranzini's are a little bit softer though, but they degrade a little bit harder as well. And Falcon on his 2-stop obviously has more tire wear to spare, and if he doesn't make any mistakes, he will walk home with P2. But he has to stay focused, and he cannot afford a mistake because, indeed, like you said, Ranzini is still there on the lookout, ready to capitalize on a mistake. He is out of DRS range now. That's comfortable for Falcon. Easy and controlled to turn 1. Falcon is really wanting this P2. And he really did a nice job into helping his teammate, not making life too difficult for him. And it's gonna be a go speed party. Wonder what the cake is gonna look like, you know? The Ghostbusters theme in there.
Maybe so. We'll talk about that a little bit later because Craig Baxter's trying to take advantage of Henry Hermsen's slower rubber. And he's very close towards Arouche. Has to even back off the throttle there. We've seen a few drivers have that today, but right now he'll flick on DRS around the outside. Does he have the top speed to get past Hermsen? He does, and he's way ahead of the driver now. Throws it into Lecombe. He takes away P4. For Craig Baxter,
nice job.
He's had some good races this season. This one's certainly up there with one of the best.
Yeah, he's fighting every inch of the way, and he's certainly putting himself into the spotlight. He had a troubling first start of the season, but I think he practiced quite a lot, and by practicing he managed to increase his speed dramatically. And he's really showing it off in the past few races. Henry Hermsen, can he come back a little bit? Obviously had the speed early race, but seems like Craig is having the better of him. Ranzini now driving in 3rd position and is going into no man's land where Quakel is at the moment. Quakel already making himself up for a rouge, believe it or not, whilst Falcon is just passing the start-finish line. Ranzini struggling to hold on to it, and it's basically a little bit settled for the end of this race in terms of the front runners. But 8 retirements this race, that's really a lot, even for Pro.
Another one of those races, much like Austria and last round as well at Monza. So another race where we have, another race of attrition, which is, I don't want to keep saying it because it's very cliche, but it is the case, most certainly. For Baxter and Hermsen, as Raikkonen gets very loose on the exit of the final corner. Hermsen's tyres are 3 laps older, so Baxter has that extra freshness. Right now, he's not going to look back because David Cook's lap time last time around, a 1 minute 50.0. For Baxter, a 1 minute 48.9. So I think certainly so. Baxter, 16 seconds to make up to P3, a little bit unrealistic. He's certainly got P4 settled and done. Signed, sealed, delivered for him.
Yeah, definitely. He just gotta keep his. He just has to keep his head cool and take it to the finish line. So let's see in a little bit of time where he will be. Quakel is making himself up for his first Formula Sim Racing Championship title, and what a joy it will be for him. Just has to stay on the road, and then everything will be sorted. 16.5 seconds advantage he has over Adrian Falcon in P2. So, and what a tremendous race it has been for now, and as we are settling to the end stages, I'm sure we get 1 or 2 more battles, but definitely in the midfield, so to say.
Certainly, sir. As we look at lap 21 of 27, and Quakel has begun, wrapping out or rounding out this race. Falcon crosses the line, 1 minute 48.3, and Quakel 1 minute 49.0. So that essentially confirms, Chris, for anybody who had doubts, and I'm pretty sure that was 0% of people, that Quakel is on par for another win here in the Pro Series. And he started off the season well, 6 for 6, but after that, got into a little bit of trouble in terms of not getting pole position in qualifying. The races didn't go as smoothly for him, but this one, fairly straightforward, pole position, and he's out and away. That's why qualifying is so important.
Yeah, true. And that's also why I don't understand and also respect the decision of David Cook to start from the pit after he qualified P7. But nevertheless, maybe he can explain me why you would qualify P7 and still lose 20 seconds waiting for the light to go green and everyone to pass in the pit. But it's an obnoxious decision in my opinion. Imagine yourself doing that, Jonny. You're in with you qualify 5th and you think, I'm gonna start from the pit.
No, not a good decision, right? Of course not.
But he has his reasons. Maybe the doorbell rang, I don't know.
That certainly could have been the case. Maybe he had to forgot to go to the toilet. You never know. But nevertheless, 5 laps to go right now as Quakel approaches that final chicane. He's just going to reel that car in. The very weird to get in that final corner. Closes in on you on the exit. Using a bit of the curb there. He crosses the line. So here we go. 5 laps to go in this event. And Quakel leads by 15.7 seconds ahead of his teammate Adrian Falcon in the other Ghost Speed car right there. The Ghost Speed Engineering sister team in the Pro Series. Falcon's teammate James Sadler out of the race there on the first lap. But in P3, it's Giacomo Ranzini. A terrific race from the Italian, right up there for one of the best drives of the season, getting a podium for himself. Craig Baxter, another solid performance in P4. Henry Hermsen in 5th. And we have David Cook, who, as you mentioned, Chris, started in the pit lane. Could have been up a couple of positions at this race had he not. But he's still getting a decent result, maybe so, in these remaining 5 laps. Andrea Ventura and Raikkonen in 7th and 8th, then rounding out the rest of the classified cars as Hermsen almost loses the car on the exit of the source.
Yeah, he's really twitchy at the moment. And who's dive-bombing? Really a pure dive bomb into Andrea Raikkonen. And Raikkonen able to see it coming. But that was really weird. Now though, they are up to Eau Rouge, and I have no doubt that with DRS, Buffon can make a move in. Raikkonen has unbeatable top speed, but here we go, flicks the DRS on, gets closer and closer. Raikkonen goes defensive onto the inside, Buffon on the outside, and outbraking from Raikkonen as well. Good job from him. But earlier on, I thought, like, what is Buffon doing? That was a way too big gap for him to dive in turn 1.
Yeah, as these two teammates are battling it out right to the limit right now. But Buffon doesn't really seem to have the top speed, and Andrea Raikkonen is taking advantage of that. So Raikkonen pitted on lap 17 for Christian Buffon. He pitted on lap 19, so his tyres are 2 laps fresher. And don't forget, Raikkonen is on the medium compound rubber, whereas Buffon is on the faster soft compound rubber. So the advantage for Christian Buffon, as David Cook also made his way past Henry Hermsen on the Kemmel Straight. For Cook now, he started from the pit lane, Chris, but he got his way, if he can get his way past Craig Baxter in 4th, he essentially maybe would have nullified that effect, because 3rd is a little bit of an optimistic position, whether or not he started the race on the grid.
I don't think Craig will let him in the upcoming 4 laps that are remaining, to be honest. What I also just realized, we have 3 Italian drivers in Pro with the name Andrea. Andrea Ventura, Andrea Racconi and Andrea Canata, both in P7, 8 and 10. But yeah, Andrea Ventura having the better of them all. But yeah.
Certainly so. And there's quite a good Italian grid here. Giacomo Ranzini as well. It's just unfortunate, Chris, don't have any Italian drivers out there on the field Formula 1 grid. So we'll hopefully see them. Jarno Trulli, I think, maybe was the last one, if I can recall.
I love it when he put his machinist hat on and he just started the Trulli train. You know, he was like, all aboard, you know, all aboard for the Trulli train. And it was epic in those days. But yeah, no more with DRS and passive curves.
Bose, or whatever you want to call it these days. And well, for Trulli, my favorite Trulli train was Singapore in 08. It was 09, I can't remember what year, but he had a huge train, probably, you know, going back from Singapore to back to his hometown in Italy. Who knows? That was a long train. So for Quakel now, with 3 laps remaining, looking towards the championship, Chris, and I mean, it's been a flawless season for him. He maybe, almost certainly would make up that step to WC next season. And right now he's used Pro as that stepping platform, he's dominated the series, and what that will mean is going into WC, most likely for 2016, he'll have the confidence, mostly, of many of those drivers.
Yeah, definitely. He already drove some races this year, and even in the lead in Australia, I believe so. Yeah, he definitely showed early on the season that he's worthy and capable. It's just a matter of time now, basically.
It is. We're waiting to count down. I meant to say, final few
what the
seconds.
hell? If we can go on the replay with Giacomo Ranzini, that was a frightening moment. He goes through a rouge, and he gets onto a back marker, Pascal Chapon, but there's a little bit of a miscommunication on which way they go, and he actually has to brake to make sure he avoids him. Scary moment for Ranzini there. Imagine yourself losing a podium because of that. I'm sure that Michele Di Alessandro can talk about that. He lost his 2nd place after a back marker failed to spot him and went completely retarded after a crash. So
Australia wasn't out.
Yeah, that was Australia indeed, and yeah, he lost P2 guaranteed because of that. Nevertheless, those things well happen sometimes. I remember Michael Schumacher in the warm-up lap, in the formation lap in Malaysia, when he had the back of the grid, he rammed Christian Albers, just, you know, by closing his eyes. I don't know. But even Michael Schumacher makes stupid mistakes. David Coulthard spinning in the warm-up lap of Monza 94. But then you talk about a big-chinned Scottish guy, I mean, you know, but nevertheless, sometimes accidents like that happen, even to the best. Like Senna crashing in Monaco 88 with 40 seconds into the lead.
Yeah, anything. Oh, there was that race at Monaco. I always forget the year when nobody wanted to win, but that's obviously another situation.
Olivier Panis won with 3 guys remaining on track.
Yeah, there was those races. I think it was Panis. I'm pretty sure. No, there was another race. Some time out. Anyway, with 2 laps to go, as Quakel right now.
Indeed, well, 16 seconds away from Falcon still. He's he will have no problem, and this will be 2 victory laps for him basically. He will know he have the title in his pocket, and nothing can stop him instead of a technical failure. Even if Ron Squire takes the wheel, he will still finish the race, I'm sure. So title in the bag, and what a well-deserved title it is. We still have, I believe, 4 races to go after this one. 2, 4, 5 even.
Yeah.
This is race 10. And he's already champion then. Well, it's insane. Hats off really for Jeroen. Hats off.
Yeah, hats off to him. He's done an incredible job all season. And as we look to begin his final lap, your favorite moment of the season? We know we still have Singapore to go in 2 weeks' time. We also have Suzuka, Circuit of the Americas, and Brazil. But there's no real favorite moment to pick because he's basically just had a collective, consistent, dominant season for him as he crosses La Source for the final time.
Yeah, my favorite moment of the season, I don't know. Off the track, I would definitely say Go Van Kini is bragging into the chat on YouTube, but on the track I would definitely say, it's a little bit bashy, but Giordano Valeriano, his Austria incident was really amusing in some aspects. But
I meant concerning Quakel,
okay.
Potential championship
well,
winner.
actually, him leading the race in Australia on WC, I have to say, I mean, instantly gave the impression that he's so overqualified for this series, and he has shown it. I mean, winning the first 6 races of the season, it's an insane achievement, and you can only have respect for that if you cannot keep up with him in pace. You can dislike the guy, you can hate him, but his results are speaking for himself, and high quality driver right there. So,
yeah, certainly so. For Quakel, he's gone through all the troubles, all the practice he's needed to improve.
Does he have a contract for next year?
Who knows? Everybody's on probably 1-year contracts, but nevertheless, he rounds Blanchimont, and he has been well deserving of this championship win. Only a couple more corners to take the win at Spa and to take the 2015 Pro Series Championship. He's absolutely dominated the season, rounding the final corner. A fairly straightforward race for him on his one-stop strategy, and Quakel wins the 2015 Pro Series
and look
title,
how happy he is.
And he's quite delighted with that.
A big burnout and drift, and what a race it has been. Jeroen Quakel, our 2015 Thrustmaster Formula Sim Racing Pro Champion, and it has been one hell of a race for him, and I'm sure he's satisfied. He didn't have the battle with Sander Callas, although Sander was maybe a little bit off the pace. If we look at Jeroen, maybe he would have ended 5 or 10 seconds behind him. Nevertheless, he had an easy day, a relatively easy day on the office, because I wouldn't do it what he did, but and many others wouldn't. But he's shown us world-class driving, and that's what we enjoy in FSR. You know, seeing the best compete, and Jeroen is actually the only guy in the series that can call himself the best this year. And hats off, nothing more than that, hats off. Nevertheless, Falcon and Ronzini take a nice podium position as well. Adrian Falcon is really happy with that. Obviously the teammate of Jeroen, so he knew he had to allow his better peer, so to speak, to pass. He couldn't really contest, but Ronzini should be happy with P3 as well. Really maximizing it. Baxter in P4. David Cook in P5, Henry Harrison P6, Andrea Racconi in P7, and Andrea Ventura in P8, Bufumu in P9, Andrea Kanata in P10, Jonathan Etier is P11, he's gonna finish the race right now, and Pascal Chapon still racing, but 1 lap down, already finished 1 lap ago, but he is driving on his imaginary last lap. Look at Pascal Chapon go. Already finished the race, but still going for the apex. Come on, Pascal, you can do it.
So Pascal Chapon is a good result from him there. A wonderful race, and I think for Ranzini as well, mustn't be overshadowed the fact that Quakel has taken the win and the championship. That Ranzini's had a great result. Unfortunately, Chris, you know what's happened to me? I've been locked out, and I've been my rFactor crashed, so I can't see the results. But nevertheless, it's been another terrific race. And I mean, we spoke about Quakel before, winning the championship, fairly straightforward race today. we got Singapore in 2 weeks' time, and I'm sure these guys are going to have fun for the rest of the season. It's battles for pride rather than championship, which makes it a little bit of extra delight for some of these guys.
Yeah, and I actually wanna talk 2 minutes with Jeroen, and he's coming. We obviously want a little bit of the taste of the champagne he's receiving from Ghostby. Huh? Is he? Are you taking care of him?
We will certainly. So the cake is also coming soon.
You have to keep him for next year, basically. But obviously they have you as well. But he might be preferable above you, or do you?
Who knows if I'm even racing?
You are.
Who knows if I have the time to race?
But we'll force you.
That's
we'll
not
force you by force, by aggression. Force you to race.
We'll save that. The man of the hour is definitely Quaker right now, and he wins the race. Hopefully we do get a comment from him, Chris, so get him into here. And for him, Falcon, Lanzini and P3. Craig Baxter in 4th. Solid result for him. And what about David Cook in 5th? Even though he started from the pit lane, that's some good haul of points. We said he needed a strong race. For Henry Hermsen as well, a terrific race in 6th position. The two Andreas, Raikkonen and Ventura in 7th and 8th. Then Christian Performer in 9th. And Jaya Kanate in 10th. The final men to finish this race, Jonathan Ethier, Pascal Champon, Dmitry Zaharov there in 13th. That really bizarre incident on the entrance to Eau Rouge, and then O'Reilly and Carpenter in the middle of that wonderful corner having a fatal contact. And Callas, Sadler, Dewaldnell, Valeriano and Vicentovic all out of the race. But I think we have our champion here, Chris, and you're here with Jeroen Kwekel.
Indeed, but that was certainly, coming back to that, hell of an incident in Eau Rouge. Certainly not the last words spoken about that. But the first words are about to be spoken by Jeroen Kwekel. How are you, Jeroen?
I'm feeling good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty calm, or out of breath out of this hard, tremendous race. Or you could basically sit back a little bit, couldn't you?
Yeah, I could. We definitely managed the tires. I mean, we had so much more percentage left than the race simulations. At one stage I think it was about 9% better on the rear or something like that. I mean, that's quite a big difference. So we took it easy, but still you need to bring it home.
What went definitely. What went through your head when you saw on the first lap that James Sadler and Sonny Callas crashed each other out? What went through your head?
I saw it in the mirror. I don't exactly know what happened, of course, but when you see it happening, I immediately said to my engineer, Sander Span, and then my engineer...
And then your engineer was like, bow down for what?
No.
No?
A second later he said that Sander retired because he didn't have a rear wing, so at that stage you know what to do.
So,
Thank you.
I think we both congratulate you with a fantastic win today, and not only in the win, you won the season after winning the first 6 races as well, and maybe 8 races out of 9, I believe, with Michele Di Alessandro winning 1 race in between, causing you your first point loss, so to speak, after 7 races. So yeah, sublime victory. But now comes the most important point of the weekend for you, next to racing, and that is the commentary, in WC. You're with us in half an hour?
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely, I'll join you.
Yeah, it's like a Top Gear lap for Formula 1 drivers. I mean, you can win a championship, but if Rubens Barrichello beats you in the Top Gear standings, how good are you?
Thank you for the messages as well before the bus stop.
Thanks you. Oh, you received those? Yeah, I was like, what if he spins off ruffling on the track, But no. I whispered when Jeroen was in the final sector of the final lap. I whispered to him, let Michael pass for his championship, like Jean Todt once said beautifully to Rubens Barrichello. But glad you could appreciate it. At least you had a 16-second lead, so nothing.
Yeah,
to
no
worry about.
issues.
You have any questions, Jonny? To your superior teammate? Joking. Joking.
That's certainly the case. No, that's the case though. He's won a terrific championship. I'll speak to him in private. He's done an incredible job. I think publicly, there's no need to talk him up. He's done. How could you say it? He's done his. Let's put it like this: his racing has done the talking. I think that's the perfect way to say it. So, in the end, we will probably wrap up. Any last words, Jeroen? Are you still going to be racing the rest of the Pro Series, or maybe making a step up?
I'm I'm definitely open for WC if Ghostbeat needs me. If Ghostbeat does need me, then expect me to see in WC as well. And if they don't, then I'll be in Pro.
So you got 5 minutes after this, we can maybe talk about next year. Yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No,
Okay.
joking.
Well, it's okay. We can go. But I don't go that far.
Nah. No, but let's wrap up for now. We are back in what is it? 35 minutes, I believe. Isn't it?
For WC.
Yeah, 6 o'clock. We are back. Maybe 6 minutes then, since we don't have our favorite Samwise Gamgee with us this day. He's helping people in Greece or whatever. Not joking. Yeah, for now, thanks for watching. Hope you like the show. Hope you like our new champion in Pro, Jeroen Kwekel. Thanks Jonny Simon for the commentary. Thanks Pashalis Gergis for the camera work. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you. Jeroen and I are on the commentary in 40 minutes time, and we hope to see you then. Bye bye for now, and thanks a lot for watching.